today's project, when we bought this property 4 years ago, we contacted the local cable provider to see if we could get broadband here. This is kind of a rural road with no services on it, and they gave us a $26,000 to run the cable. Well, we did some digging. We had a neighbor that did some pushing and stuff and threatened them with public service connection. And lo and behold, they ran our cable for free. So they just they ran underground up and down the road, but our termination point, they just ran a cable across the front yard. So instead of waiting, who knows how long, 6 months for them to get here and trench it, I just did a quick little 6-inch ditch with the backhoe. And now I'm fixing up the front yard. Sod is a pain in the ass to work with when you're trying to level out dirt. So what I ended up doing, where I trenched this, I tried to cut it real quick, real smooth, figuring I'd just put the sod back in, but it turned out to be such a pain in the ass. I just pulled the sod out and reseeded it, put some topsoil in there, reseeded it. So now I just got to really get the rocks off the surface so I can get it flat and level. I'll throw in some topsoil where I need to, fill in some low spots, and we should be good to go. Have a nice yard back again. Boy, it's handy. I bought this backhoe not knowing how many projects we could do. Never really had a backhoe, so it's a new experience. There are so many things now that I can do that are just little 2-second projects you wouldn't rent a piece of equipment for, but it's so handy. We want to move a bush, 2 seconds, dig it up, dig a hole, put it back. Just such a godsend this has been. There's so many things. We've got a beautiful piece of property here, but it needs some work. Having this little backhoe has really helped. It's funny, as a kid, my dad used to make us do all this kind of work. We had huge gardens, and all of us kids, would basically hide when Dad would be around, so he wouldn't collect us to do the work. And now I absolutely love this. This is what I would do all day long, every day if I could. Someday, that's what we're working towards. I just scheduled a little vacation retreat. It's Leanne and I's first anniversary coming up in August. And we both love the woods and being outdoors. So kind of a perfect fit. I found a bed and breakfast treehouse resort. So we're going to go up into the Adirondacks and stay in a treehouse. It's one of those things that, you know, I would love to build here on the property. We've got 50 acres with a creek going right through the middle of it. This is ultimately what we're going to end up doing. This bed and breakfast, $275 a night. I mean, if I could build 2 or 3 of those here on this property, rent them out, you know, even if you only rent them out 6 or 8 weeks on the summer, man, that's not a bad little side gig. We'll see. It's part of the plan. Couple little spots in a little bit more topsoil. This is one thing that's handy to have, but I try to always keep a little bit. I've got a pile of topsoil down here, a pile of stone. There's a few other things, a few other materials I'd love to have just piles laying around. It's so handy to have this stuff when you need it. A little bit. I don't need much. Maybe half a bucket. Grab a shovel. We paid our kids to paint the shed. They were afraid to do a cut-in, so that's what we have right now. Maybe later today I'll get the paintbrushes out and clean that up. But overall the shed looks good, and I didn't have to do most of the work. Right now I'm actually on my work break, on my lunch break from work. We're working remote. Wayne and I both work for a school. We're working remote most of the time. My job I can do from anywhere in the world. It's kind of the blessing and the curse of the job. I could work from a beach in Bermuda, but the downside, I could also work from a beach in Bermuda. So this spot here is always kind of rough. It's very, very wet. we've got horrible topsoil. It's real heavy clay based. So when they, years ago when they built this road, they built the road, of course, on gravel. So the other side of the road is really wet. And what happens, that wet goes right through that gravel, hits this layer of clay on this side, and just travels along the top of the clay. So it's always wet on this side. Even in the height of summer, it stays pretty wet. I think my only fix to this is going to be to dig some of the clay out and just make drainage in there. But not a project I want to take on right now. We got enough of those. So while I'm doing all this work, let me give you a little background on what we're doing. We bought this property in 2017. It was just under 50 acres with a mobile home on it. So we started looking at this in October, actually Halloween of 2016. And I showed Leanne pictures of it. We had been looking for so long, trying to find something. Nothing was really matching all of our requirements. But this one seemed to be a good fit. So Leanne and I took a look at it, and the way they advertised the property, it was just a mobile home. They didn't really highlight the land. And that's really what I cared about, was the land. So Leanne looked at it and she was kind of disappointed. There's no backyard. There's, it drops off into a big cliff down to the creek at the bottom. So we kind of passed on it and waited. Spring of the next year, we came back out and we could actually walk the trail that's behind where our house is now. And this trail goes all the way down to the bottom of the hill, right down to the creek. And I just fell in love with it. It's gorgeous property. All kinds of potential. So I explained to Leanne my idea of, let's build a house into the hill so we can have a walkout basement right out the back. And she didn't quite see my vision, but she agreed that, she'd give it a shot. So we put a purchase offer in on the property. We probably paid too much for the property, but we had some options. One of those options was, being there was a mobile home on the property, and it's a big property. There's 1,800 feet of road frontage. One of the options was, hey, there's a mobile home there. Let's fix up the mobile home and rent it. Make a nice little side income and help pay the property taxes, because the property taxes in this area are out of control. So that's what we did. We put a couple of grand into the trailer fixing it up. We got some really awesome tenants, and that's where we're at. We built the house here, built it right into the hill. We've got a walkout basement, nice little party area out back. I'll show you later. And we're both nearing retirement. Leanne's got 3 years. I got probably 2 more after her. We'll see. But part of the plan is we're setting up all kinds of side hustles. And that's what we're going to do for money after we retire. We'll both have a pension from our school district. But, that's not really going to pay the bills. So I've got a firearms business. I sell guns, sell and repair and all that. That brings in a nice little income. We got rental property. That brings in a little income. And, we set up a little camping area and some bed and breakfast stuff. That'll be a nice income. Leanne's got all kinds of opportunities when she's done working finally. She's probably one of the most skilled presenters that I've ever known. kind of the natural at it. Where I hate to talk, she loves to talk, so kind of works out nice. So she's working on setting up her businesses, and goal here is, you know, we pretty much stop working and start doing the things we love and find a way to make money doing it. So we'll see how that works out. I'm betting it'll be just fine. So some of the things that we do, you know, before Leanne and I got together, I had a farm with all kinds of critters, goats and pigs and chickens, ducks, anything you can imagine. And my goal was to work that farm to be self-sustaining, so no external inputs. So I was getting pretty close. And life happened, divorces happen, all that good stuff. So ended up getting out of that gig, but I really loved the animals. I loved that. Just being outside in nature, you know, a little more carefree. So when I'm finally retired and have a little bit more time, we're going to collect a few more critters. We've got goats coming this fall, probably. We already have chickens. Someday I'd like to have another cow, raise a dairy cow and then a couple of beefers. Sell one of the beefers and keep one for us. All right, it's looking pretty good. Dried up a lot better than I thought it was going to today. Not bad for a little lunchtime project. Get this all cleaned up and get back to work for a couple more hours. Alright, I'm going to smooth this out a little bit. See if I can not make a mess. This tractor's a little big for this wet yard up here. But there's so many things that we couldn't do without having the tools like this. You know, having the farm, I always had tractors. When we moved to this property, being without was a big hardship for a while. And we got a smaller tractor, which was perfect size at the time. There's a lot of things that we could do. And with this being so wet here, this tractor is a little bit big for a lot of spots, especially building the yard. So, you know, it's really kind of nice to have the smaller one, but boy, I love having the bigger one and having the backhoe on it. Just the capabilities that we have. Okay, I think we're going to call that a wrap. This looks pretty good. Just sprinkle a little bit more right up there. After work today, this little mess right here, we had just a slanting wall here, just gravel and rocks. You know, it looked kind of nice, but my idea here with the driveway was to eventually put a retaining wall in right here. Well, they ordered the blocks for the retaining wall. They ordered them like May 20th. They were supposed to be in May 28th. I got confirmation they were going to be in May 28th, so I dug this all out, got ready to trench it for the stone and start laying the blocks. And lo and behold, they delayed the order. There's no blocks available. So this is what we got until we got an order of blocks. I just got notification the blocks should be here probably tomorrow. So tomorrow I get out of work at noon, and I think this will be tomorrow's project. We started on those blocks. Take a couple of days to lay them all in. About 350 blocks. Be a fun little project. Keep me busy for a couple days. Alright, I think we're going to call this a wrap and get back to work for a few more hours. See how the rest of the day goes. We'll see ya.